Welcome to the MrSmartGuy Edition of the Noiz Conquest Cup, where 3 teams will be split between 3 underground biomes on ARK Aberration. First up, we take a look at the Green Portal civilization, who spawned in a pretty safe area of the map. We also have the Blue Marshlands that spawned in a rough area. And finally, we have the Great Lake, who had started constructing boats to set foot out on their lake. The first stage the players are going to have to endure is the preparation stage. They're each going to have their own time to set up some starting buildings, some forges, and maybe get some tools together. The Blue Marshlands were having a pretty rough start, but some players managed to get up to a small outpost where they eventually managed to set up some builds. After these guys had gathered some resources, they managed to tame a Megalo. Great Lake got some boats set up and they started smelting metal and other resources within their boats. They then began heading to the shore so they could go up top to build their base on a hill. Players over at the Blue Marshland had made insane progress on their buildings. A player named Logan had even started building their little house on top of this rock. He planned to build a huge castle so they could better fortify themselves. Players began quickly working on defences so they could better defend their societies. Now it's time for our first mini event. I posted on my YouTube a poll which said, for our next Underground Civilization event, which ARK Aberration Dino do you want to see in a supply drop? 8% of you voted T-Rex, 17% voted the Giga, and 75% voted the Reaper. So, I spawned a Reaper in the middle of the map and told all of the teams to head over. Now inside this supply drop, we did another poll. I said on my YouTube, in my next Aberration event, what do you guys want to be inside the supply drop? 59% of you said defense materials, 32% said attack weapons, and 9% said materials like metal, wood and stone. So I lined up this Reaper with loads of defense materials like ballistas, catapults, jar of pitch, and more defenses. The players of the Great Lake with their Spinos managed to arrive at the Reaper first. The players of the Great Lake had managed to kill this Reaper, and now they got all of the defense materials like ballistas and jar of pitch. These guys were loaded with resources, and they could definitely use it to their advantage. But it was now time to put in the mystical traders. I did a poll on my YouTube saying, in the next upcoming Aberration event, I'm adding in mystical traders for the event. So what dino do you want them to be on? 67% of you voted Bloodstalkers, 15% did Mega Chillons, 18% did Ravengers. So these traders came in on Bloodstalkers. I also had my last poll saying, what do you think the mystical traders should trade? Now, 13% of you said they should trade stuff like materials like metal and gunpowder. 23% said they should trade live Spinos and live Bloodstalkers. 65% said they should trade Rock Drake eggs in exchange for people. Ace's team decided they didn't want to give up any of their players, so the natives got back on their Bloodstalkers and headed off to the next tribe. The Great Lake civilization had a different approach to these traders. They decided to sacrifice one of their players in exchange for a rock drake egg, and they actually managed to get their hand on it. The Blue Marshland civilization did not want to give up any of their people, and a player named Bean had a really aggressive approach. He told the native they needed to leave immediately, otherwise he'd start getting angry and try to kill them. Players at the Green Portal civilization, led by Ace, were having a great time. These guys decided to get their beer and head up into their tavern which they had constructed. They were having an amazing time, and really, war was not on their mind at this point. Champa from the Blue Marshland civilization had began taming a Reaper. This would be a force not to be reckoned with if used in war. Great Lake civilization wanted to go and do some fighting, and so they set off to search for the Green Portal's base. But they had a rock drake, and because this thing had grown from when they got it from the mystical traders, they were a really strong force, and they could definitely mess with Ace's tribe if they wanted to. The Great Lake civilization had arrived at the Green Portal's base, and they were going to use this rock drake to their advantage. One of their players managed to get just below, but unfortunately he was trapped, and this was not good for the rock drake. The players from the Great Lake below the Green Portal's base began breaking in with their Spinos to kill some of the Tames. Some players managed to get up to the Green Portal's base and began doing some foot PvP. so many of the Great Lake players unfortunately died. So, the last man from the Great Lake, named Bibby, decided to try make a deal with the leader of the Green Portal, Ace. They managed to come across a deal, meaning Bibby would join the alliance with the Great Lake. They would stop the fighting and try and team up to kill the Blue Marshlands. It was time for Bibby and the rest of the Green Portal to go and try and find Blue Marshlands in order to kill them and win this event. The Green Portal civilization and Bibby were very close to the Blue Marshlands base, and now they were ready to fight. What they did not expect, however, was that the Blue Marshlands had something they would have never, ever expected. It was a Reaper. Bibby, one of the best PvPers, began throwing grenades at the pace. However, Meglos came out and he had to parachute away. Their plan was to go in there straight with their Spinos and try and kill as many tames as possible, but this Reaper would be a serious problem. In all of this fighting, the Meglos from the Blue Marshlands were starting to overpower the Spinos, and the Green Portal civilization began to fall. The Reaper as well from the Blue Marshlands was absolutely obliterating the Green Portal civilization. Bibby and a few other players were the last ones remaining on these Spinos. As so many of the players were dead, Bibby on his Ravager tried luring some of the Meglos away from the base, so he could eventually hop inside and try and destruct the inside of the base. Bibby himself managed to sneak back into the Blue Marshlands base, and he was going to try and cause some inside damage, but just as the Reaper was next to him, he thought he may have been safe and it found him. Bibby began running for his life, trying to get away from this Reaper, as he was the last man standing and this was their last hope of winning the event. Unfortunately, Bibby was killed by a player named Champa on the Reaper. This meant the Blue Marshlands had won this event. All the players from the Green Portal and Great Lake Civilization had been killed. Well done to Blue Marshlands, as they were standing very strong within this event. This Underground Aberration event was probably one of the most interesting ones I had ever done, and I also want to thank Noiz so much for helping me host this event. It was absolutely great. Well done to the Blue Marshlands again for winning the victory, and I hope to see you guys in the next Conquest Cup.